You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your Thursday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Across Montana tonight, a $3.5 million move, 7 years in the making, is finally complete and has art lovers jumping for joy. Plus, a vegan Miss Montana USA starts a beef with Montana ranchers, and tonight they fire back. But first, operations at Montana's largest coal mine, which employs about 280 workers, come to a halt. So those 280 employees at the Spring Creek mine north of Decker are without work tonight. And the new owner is telling MTN they shut down the mine over a disagreement with state regulators. Now, the key issue, the new owners do not have a permit to operate the mine. The Navajo Transitional Energy Company, or NTEC, bought out Cloud Peak Energy in bankruptcy proceedings earlier this month. NTEC, which is owned by the Navajo Indian Nation, says Montana is demanding the Navajos agree to a complete waiver of their sovereign immunity when it comes to state mining laws. Rebecca Harbage with the state DEQ disagrees, telling MTN News that Montana must be able to enforce state mining and reclamation laws and that negotiations are underway.
Fortunately, it wasn't until just this week, just days before they closed on Cloud Peak's holdings, that we started in earnest to talk about negotiating the language of a waiver. Our hope is that we can move this forward as quickly as possible to ensure that operations can continue at the mine.
Now, the Cloud Peak mine produced almost 13 million tons of coal in 2017, or 35% of all the coal mined in Montana. Now, NTEC also purchased 2 other mines in Wyoming. Both of those mines received permits and are operating tonight. A suspect still at large after last night's stabbing near the Gallatin Valley Mall. MTN's Cody Boyer is following the story and has the very latest.
It was not an isolated, random event.
Bozeman City Police say a man stabbed another man twice during a fight among a group of people near the Petco parking lot.
It sounds like there were a couple other people involved in the initial incident. Detectives are still trying to follow up and find out what exactly their involvement was.
The victim was sent to the hospital, where he is still recovering from what the deputy chief says were considered serious injuries. Veltkamp says the suspect had vanished, with witnesses saying he had ran toward the Gallatin Valley Mall.
Officers and detectives responded to the scene, did considerable checking of the area, including the mall, to make sure that there was no further threat.
City police confirm that the mall was not evacuated. Rather, the employees and patrons inside were told to either stay in place, or if they were to leave on their own will, they could not go back in for their own safety.
We're just trying to encourage people once they left, to avoid the area.
As for the suspect, he remains at large. No one else was hurt and no one else was in any danger, according to police. Veltkamp says with the help of a canine unit, the search was methodical and organized, as will be the rest of the investigation.
We do have some leads in regards to this incident. Having the community's involvement to help us solve cases like this always helps.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
And Cody tells us the K-9 unit also did a search of the grounds near Petco, but could not confirm if any evidence was found. Well, Governor Steve Bullock has ordered all flags across Montana to be flown at half-staff tomorrow in remembrance of Deputy Jake Allmendinger. Allmendinger died Saturday night after being pinned under his patrol car. In a statement, the governor says Montana's law enforcement officers and Montanans all across the state mourn the loss of a fallen brother, but we will never forget the ultimate sacrifice he made to our state. Law enforcement from across the region will lead tomorrow's procession in Bozeman, followed by a funeral at Journey Church. A recorded interview with Helena detectives, key evidence presented today in the trial of 23-year-old murder suspect Journey Winky. Well, that interview played in court today shows Winky admitted he helped take jewelry from the scene and washed the murder weapon after the 2018 double murder of David and Charlotte Taylor. Winky said he didn't expect anything to happen when he went to the victim's home with their son Caleb Taylor, and said he was in a state of shock after watching Taylor attack and kill his parents. Winky did admit he helped rob the house and wash off the weapon, but only because Caleb Taylor told him to. Now, Caleb Taylor has already pleaded guilty to killing his parents and is serving 2 consecutive life sentences at Montana State Prison. Well, Flathead Valley middle and high school students will soon have a new free tool to help fight crime. School Resource Officer Dennis Bain says a new crime reporting app allows students to anonymously report concerns like threats of violence or mental health issues. On average, 95% of high school students around the country have cell phones, making this app easy and accessible for students to use.
School safety is a huge issue these days, and a lot of kids want to report things, but they don't want to be a snitch. So this gives them a voice without giving them a face.
Now, Bain says right now there's only one other school in Montana, that's in Bozeman, that uses this app. Well, one of Butte's favorite sons and writers, Ed Dobb, is being honored in Butte with a new library. MTN's John Amy has that story.
Moving 10,000 books into a new research library in honor of the late Butte writer Edwin Dobb is a labor of love. But it's also hard work.
I think we moved something like 180 boxes of books over about a week and a half. No one had to go to the gym that week.
The hard work will result in the Edwin C. Dobb Memorial Peace Library being set up in Butte's historic Jacobs House at Granite and Montana. Dobb, a Butte native and renowned writer and essayist, died last July.
Ed was a champion of the literary arts here in Butte, and so we thought it was only appropriate to honor him with his name being on our library.
The books for the library came from the collection of Butte author David Abrams, who authored the acclaimed novels Fobbit and Brave Deeds.
I look on this library as a gift back to Ed for all of the love that he's given Butte over the years.
This is just a few of the 10,000 books he sold to this project. Now, it wasn't an easy decision, but when he found out it was going in honor of Ed Dobb, well, that made that decision a bit easier.
Emotionally, it was a little bit hard to get rid of them, but like I said, once I knew where they were going and the purpose of the library, then all bets were off. You know, I freely gave.
Thanks so much, John. Now, the building will also be used as a temporary home for traveling artists who are passing through Butte. That library is expected to open by next summer. Well, a message shared by Miss Montana USA on Instagram this week stated that animal agriculture is destructive to the planet, and that's not sitting well with some Montanans. The Montana Stock Growers Association quickly responded. MTN's David J. standing by now with more on this discussion between a vegan and the beef industry. David.
Jeanelle, from the posts we're seeing, it has turned into a discussion. Miss Montana USA Marissa Underwood says she wants to be respectful, and the stock growers are looking at it as an opportunity for education. Underwood shared a meme with the statement, "Animal agriculture is the most destructive industry facing our planet today." The meme has graphics from vegan supporting organizations. The stock growers responded with a letter that states that it appreciates her passion but want to correct what the organization calls misleading and inaccurate information. The letter also states that more than 96% of the farms and ranches across the U.S. are family-owned and operated. The Montana Ag Network interviewed the stock growers today.
We really think it's important to share your story and share with the public what you're doing on your ranch and what makes it so great and what makes it sustainable. Those messages are always better than negative messages bashing other people. Educate, stay positive, and stay factual.
So one thing I want to make quite clear is that I'm not talking about small-scale family farms, small-scale farms. I am talking about large mass corporations. I love all the facts and everything that people are showing me, and I hope that people are open and receptive to hearing what I have to say.
Those Marissa Underwood comments came from her Instagram post. Miss Montana USA stated that she would like to have a conversation about ag and would be willing to go on a ranch tour. That was after an invitation from the stock growers. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, David. A new partnership launching here in Montana could help make it easier for families to purchase their own home. Wells Fargo and Neighborhood Works America announcing today they will bring the Neighborhood Lift program to Montana. Now, this program is open to families making up to the local median income. After home buyers complete an education course, have a contract to purchase a home, and are approved for financing, they can apply for a $10,000 grant to help them with their down payment. Some groups, including military members, veterans, teachers, and emergency service members, can get $12,500.
Families definitely have a struggle to make that big down payment, that savings. They're able to make the high rent payments and other things in their life. So this fills that gap that they need in order to move on to home ownership and then beginning to build their own wealth for their future.
So when you think about what we're doing, we're giving families a chance to have safe, stable housing that's affordable to them so that they can go on and thrive in whatever endeavor they need to thrive in.
And Neighborhood Works says the Neighborhood Lift program will have about 225 new home buyers here in Montana, and those grants will be offered starting Monday. Well, the annual Harvest Howl fundraiser in Great Falls forced to make some big changes this week after the bands Smash Mouth and Lost Lonely Boys canceled at the last minute. The annual event to help raise funds for Camp Rotary already has 2 replacements for Saturday. World Classic Rockers and Starship featuring Mickey Thomas. Now, Starship has had several top 40 hits, including Jane and We Built This City, while the World Class Rockers feature former members from groups such as Journey, Boston, and Lynyrd Skynyrd. The night will also feature a silent auction as well as a big dance floor to dance the night away. Now, Harvest Howl will provide refunds for anyone who bought tickets but does not want to attend due to the changes. Well, still to come on your statewide 9 o'clock news, we bring you an inside look at the dangers of vaping. But first, how's the weather looking, Bob?
Well, Jeanelle, today was a beautiful day across all of Montana, and tomorrow much of the state's going to enjoy the same thing, but a new cold front moving in Friday night and into Saturday could mean snow for some. We'll tell you more about that coming up after the break.